the first half of our conversation, we were talking about the creator crisis and how we know it exists. We outlined a YouTube channel called Donut, and I use Donut specifically because it's expensive to make original quality donut content. It's not as expensive to do. We're not building a car and wake up with BMO. That's all I'm gonna say. So it's not as expensive on here to do it when you have a venture capitalist firm helping you make cars. So I wanted to use Cars and Donut Channel to show that very specific example of people are pulling away from creativity, especially when it's risky. So then that lends to the question of, so if people are pulling away from creativity, what era of creativity are we currently in? We are in a current phase of creativity or internet stupidity when it comes to creativity. And it's something that you notice a lot freshman year in college or like senior year in high school. When the lessons have gotten hard, but the individual's brain has not gotten bigger, what do they do, sweetheart? What? When the questions get harder, but you don't feel like studying and you don't feel like doing your own research, what do? You plagiarize.
No.
And we are currently in the midst of what I think is the plagiarism era of internet creativity. And it's obvious, right? You know and I know. And there are two forms of plagiarism. And I wish that the plagiarism that we were looking at was a little more nefarious and cold. Like this first example. Put the first one up. It's a carousel. There is a marketing agency. They are called Market. Funny enough. They had an RFP. They responded to an RFP, request for a proposal from Sweetgreen. In that, you can click through as I'm talking about, sweetheart. In that proposal, they requested that Sweetgreen should do kale camo jackets, right? Mm-hmm. So they requested it they had a pitch. They sat in a meeting. They paid they people to come up with this idea, this original IP, and didn't hear nothing from Sweetgreen. Didn't hear a word from Sweetgreen. Couple months go by, Sweetgreen, without any credit or even paying the marketing agency, what do? They dropped their own kale camo jackets. They straight up stole the IP.
That's crazy.
Plagiarized the IP. And I would love to tell you, sweetheart, that the future of plagiarism is going to look like this. That is going to be people who start institutions, nefariously steal from you while they try to, promise you things or whatever. But in actuality, the era of plagiarism doesn't look like this at all. This is the plagiarism that I feel like most people have come to understand will happen. When it comes to fast fashion, This is what happens, right? You see somebody create a design, and then 3 weeks later, you see fucking H&M got that same design.
Right.
And then the original creator tries to sue, and then there's no grounds for suing because the way the copyright laws and patent laws work within this country, there's not enough it does not reward originality enough in order for people to seek punitive damages on a consistent basis. I'd like to draw your attention to Fortnite and the Carlton dance.
Mm-hmm. Even they did the same thing with Snoop. They called it the Snoop Walk.
The Snoop Walk emote.
Yeah.
Did Snoop get some cash off of that?
I got to look into that, but it's the Crip Walk, and they called it the
Snoop Walk.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not a lawyer, so don't depend on me to make this case. But I believe that the ruling was, especially on the Carlton dance case, because the Carlton dance case went to the Supreme Court, is that the body movements on Carlton, although not everybody can do it, is not original enough because everybody has bodies. That's what they said.
All right.
That's what they said. And I'd love to tell you that every time there's a plagiarism case that's happening on the internet, somebody like Market is going to call out a Sweetgreen. Mm-hmm. And these fast casual places keep fucking it up. I'm looking at you, Sweetgreen and Ann Pizza. Y'all just keep fucking up.
Okay.
Y'all gonna know y'all place. But in actuality, the plagiarism that we're going to see in this digital creative crisis that we are currently experiencing, the plagiarism we're going to see, sweetheart, play the next video, and something that we see all the time is this shit. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do it while she's doing it.
Huge disclaimer, this is not my story. I may forget bits and pieces of the story as I go along because this all went down last summer. Basically, on Twitter, there was a nurse that was saying the amount of times I've heard a rapist confess something heinous to me while they were in hospice care, I've lost count. And other nurses took the screenshot and replying to it on Nurses of TikTok and were making videos of how rapist people were on their deathbeds and were explaining how their patients were begging for forgiveness and stuff like that. Trigger warning to this story. So the story goes, a nurse was attending to a patient who was in hospice care. The patient then confesses to the girl that she basically lied and was envious of a...
I don't know what the fuck going on in that story, but what I do know is that one of the people on the screen is not necessary. Matter of fact, 2/3 of that screen is unnecessary. Why do we have comments? Why do we have somebody's faces reacting to the situation? And so Drew said earlier is like, oh, I'm going to start making reaction and response content. This to me is not reaction and response content.
No.
There is no original commentary. There is no editorial. There is no risk being made. And what's sad, if I'm not mistaken, the young lady who's not saying nothing has more followers and is being monetized for that video on a higher level than the young lady she's responding to. Mm-hmm. This is the new plagiarism.
Right.
And it drives me crazy because it could be as simple as that to as wild as like I hear the same script on the same videos with different backgrounds all the time. Mm-hmm. There are ads on YouTube Reels, Opus clips. How come these people are making 14 million, 6 million clips in a day, or 6 million views in a day? It's because they're just going to YouTube videos, putting that URL into Opus and then creating their own clips. And then you double down on the fact that YouTube is encouraging you to make reactionary and response content rather than original content.
Right.
America, we have a problem. And unlike class, you can't give a content network, you can't give a channel a B. You can't give them a C+ because they didn't quote their sources. They just continue to exist. Mm-hmm. And for all my other people who are on YouTube, like I don't think other YouTube videos show up under your copyright strikes.
Really?
I don't think so. I have featured other YouTube videos, but I actually, you know what's crazy? Detroit, Jordan, I get a copyright notification about your song every time I put it up.
Oh, wow.
Same thing for Sorry EU's joint. Same thing when Micah was doing Tone Shade. Same thing when it was the Antisocial Social Club. Mm-hmm. Same thing. I get a notification that if you have distributed your music on another platform and it's been copywritten and claimed on another platform, I have noticed that will show up on YouTube. But if I put another YouTube video in here, it ain't gonna show up. Why would YouTube do that? They just told me I can make 25 billion views off a 500 million view thing. Do you know how big a difference 25 billion and 500 million is?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's crazy. Sheesh. So yeah, we're in the midst of this creative crisis, and we're also in a place where plagiarism is high and is being rewarded. So, to all my originals out there, the only thing I can really tell you is protect your neck.
Sheesh.
Better get your watermark on.
Yeah.
Better keep checking. Just turn around, shit, your hit song and on somebody's video backwards with 500,000 views. Che-tone on somebody's song backwards. We got any comments, Sweeter? What are your thoughts, Sweeter, on this current era of plagiarism in the digital creator crisis? Because we got to get to the...
It makes me sad, honestly.
Yeah?
Yeah, especially on a platform such as YouTube, because when we think about the way that it began almost 20 years ago,
yeah,
it was like the wild, wild west. Like you could see anything and everything was original and different and fresh. But now it's just like carbon copies of the same content or compilations, or people doing the same trends and the same sounds, and it's like, what? How? I don't understand how we can really evolve from this. Like, I don't think things will get. Well, maybe it'll get worse before it gets better. So, who knows?
What's worse?
Child, I don't know.
Oh, let's think about when that's just straight up cheating, like just straight up copying. There's plagiarism.
I think maybe like when you're copying the exact, like regurgitating the exact same words that somebody said, and like same format. Only thing different is you. Like,
yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we see it with the lip syncing shit though.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But at least like you performing.
I guess.
I don't know. I mean, Mariah Carey ain't sang a song on stage in 20 years. She been lip syncing this whole time. I mean, whatever.
The best part of waking up is being more